evening, YouTube. It's the RetroNatics, and we are back. Sorry that it's been a while, and I'll explain to you here in just a little bit as to what's been going on lately. But first and foremost tonight, I just want to say happy birthday to our host, Mr. Javier. He turns 40. Actually, it's not till what, September 3rd, right?
Yeah, exactly.
September 3rd, but we celebrated his birthday tonight with some of our friends. We went out to a place called Slackers, which is actually kind of themed toward us, if you think about it, man. I mean, they had a lot of retro games in there.
I thought you were gonna say we're slackers. No, he's right. It was a very big surprise because I had another good buddy of ours, or mine, that the reason why I'm gussied up is because it was under the pretense of actually going to speed dating, and although that would have been a lot of fun in itself, just for laughs. It was actually a lot better. It was a good surprise by my friend and his wife here, and they got together, a lot of our other friends, and it was a big surprise, and I was very happy with everyone showing up and stuff, and it was a really good surprise. Yeah. So sorry to take you away from Slackers.
Okay.
Slackers, yeah.
Slackers, yeah. We should probably go back sometime and kind of review it, maybe there on the premises. But yeah. A lot of retro video games they had in there and stuff. I saw they even had a X-Men versus Street Fighter game in there as well. I don't know how old that game is, but I mean it looked like it was a couple of years at least.
X-Men versus, okay, so I know the history. I remember being a kid in the arcades, in the 90s and stuff. I would say that was probably 1995. It's been a long time since that one came out.
Okay.
All those are older. That's what I love about the place, is that Jose and I and his wife have actually been to Chicago, where we went to Galloping Ghost Arcade. That was its own fun adventure and stuff. But Jose knows I've always been into the old arcade games and stuff, and Slackers was really great in that they actually did have a few old iconic arcade cabinets and stuff there, and they picked the place, man, and it was a good place, and I'd like to go again. Reminded me of the Retro Bar in Oklahoma City and stuff.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do a review on it. What's been going on lately? We did have some videos shot, but we found in post-production, as we started doing our editing work on it and everything, we found out that I did not put the windsock on the microphone of the camera, and it picked up. Apparently it's really sensitive because it picked up the sound of the ceiling fan that is right above the camera right now. And the sound, I thought maybe we could kind of work around it. I mean, because you could hear us decently, but you could really hear that fan sound pretty loud. And in the end, we just decided to jettison all the videos. Tonight we're shooting just a quick update video. We're going to talk about a few movies that we have seen. And we do have the windsock on the microphone tonight. So, first up tonight, what we want to discuss real quick. A couple of weeks ago, we saw They Live.
Our hangout, our haunt, to watch these retro movies is a place in San Antonio where we're from, right? Called the Alamo Draft House. And we go to a certain location, and they love actually releasing a lot of retro movies and stuff. And we just picked up, Jose had never seen They Live. And we just thought that that's one of the most iconic John Carpenter films, and he got to see it with new eyes, the movie and stuff. Whereas me and another buddy of ours, we've actually grew up watching that movie, along with other John Carpenter movies and other action films of the 80s and stuff. We always had a joy in watching that movie, throughout all these years and stuff. But Jose actually got to see it for the first time, and he's got his own thoughts on what he thought about the movie and stuff.
So we're going to kind of burn through our reviews pretty quick tonight, just so we don't drag this out too long. But They Live, 1988, starring Roddy Piper and Keith David, which I didn't know, which I'm assuming Keith David kind of comes out in other Carpenter films, because I know he comes out in The Thing with Kurt Russell. But this movie, I got to say, I thought it was pretty good, but it was actually one of those slow burn movies, I thought, because it seemed to take quite a while till we got to action. And it was cool in the way, though, what I liked is that it was telling the story through you simply having to watch the character and follow him around. It was one of those show, don't tell. But once it finally did get into the action, when it got to the meat of the story, it was really engrossing and all, but man, it was kind of over really quick. I actually wanted more when they got into it. but they kind of wrapped it up and ended it pretty quickly. But overall, I thought it was a pretty cool movie for '88.
Yeah, and like I said before, I've seen it so many times, but you're right about like the slow burn and that, like a lot of the groundwork, they were trying to just, I guess, build the characters and stuff, and really it is a short, like, the action is actually just in the last few moments of the film and stuff, but...
Well, don't forget that full 5-minute fight scene between Piper and David.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
That was insane, man.
Which is one of those iconic, like, scenes that everyone remembers from They Live, whoever, like, grew up watching it and stuff, and our buddy had mentioned that as well. Like, it's been used in other places, parodied in South Park and stuff. They did the full scene and everything between Jimmy and the other guy.
Jimmy and
Timmy? Yeah.
Timmy,
yeah.
That's right. So that's where that was from.
That's
okay.
right. If you
I didn't know that.
I think they have a YouTube where they line it up like side by side, like they actually reenact all of the scenes and stuff, So you got to rewatch that. Anyone out there,
Find that. Okay, and the second film now that we want to discuss real quick is Last Action Hero, which we saw. What was that? About
a week and a half ago.
A week and a half ago, you brought it over on DVD. Again, I'd never seen that movie. I'd seen only like one real quick scene from it, and it wasn't enough to really tell me the whole story. But of course, this one, was Arnold Schwarzenegger back in 1993. Yep, you're right, man. So this one, I'd hate to say, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm used to Schwarzenegger's normal movies of how they usually are. This one was a little different, and I'd hate to say it. It kind of really wasn't quite my favorite. It was just kind of weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah, well, growing up with this movie, the first time I saw it back in '93, that was the summer of Jurassic Park and all these other like big films during that time. And here we were expecting this Arnold film to be like, just the same as its other ones. But to me, I thought it was weird as a kid when I saw it the first time. But after you watch it a few times, you understand, even back then as a kid, like, that it's all meant as satire, or, as, a satire for the action films that he came in, that he acted in and stuff. The director is, I think it's John McTiernan, the name of the guy.
Yeah.
And it was Shane Black as well as one of the writers. But like those two got together for Predator and I think it was Die Hard. For McTiernan, before that. So they already had experience with action films. They were just trying to do like a parody movie, and that's really all Last Action Hero was. They're pulling things left and right. You see cameos from the T-1000 and Sharon Stone from like Basic Instinct and stuff, and you get a cartoon cat because it's basically everything that Hollywood throws at you as far as back then anyway.
The old buddy cop type movies in a way, or
exactly, even Lethal Weapon, parodies and stuff, and the invincibility of Arnold Schwarzenegger in movies and stuff, Yeah,
that's just what I was gonna say. How the hero, no matter the odds or whatever, he's always able to emerge victorious, and he can do. He pretty much almost has like superhero status without really being a superhero. He's supposedly not invincible yet. He takes a lot of damage, and yet he keeps going, So.
Right, and the bad guy's like, the guy's just, he's driving with the kid, and he's just aiming back and shooting enemies and stuff. And the kid just tries to question the reality of certain things, and he just tells him it's all about practice or something like that. But, the whole story is basically the magic ticket that the kid has from this theater owner. And this magic ticket opens up, like, the world between reality in the movie and the reality of the movie that he's watching and stuff. So basically it's a marriage of the two. One character goes to reality at a certain point, and the kid goes, in the very beginning of the movie, gets into the movie reality with the superhero and stuff. And so basically they figure out the culture clash of Arnold's invincibility and his, reality, and then he gets into the reality of the kid, and things don't work the way that it does.
Right.
And you've got your actors in it too. The villain played by Charles Dance, who's in Game of Thrones now. And
as Lord Tywin.
And he's coming back, in a few other films as well. I think he's in the new Godzilla film coming out.
Oh,
but yeah,
cool.
It's one of those things where it may be weird. It's more of a meta film and stuff. It's supposed to make fun of all the movie stuff, but it's poking fun at it. But it's not really Arnold's swan song, because he actually did have a couple of other big movies afterwards. But it was more of a satire of his work and stuff. I think he had like True Lies afterwards and like
That's a great movie, right?
Yeah, all that stuff. Like he did have some good other films. I still am a huge Arnold fan.
Oh yeah.
But I think like that was kind of like the midway point of his like action career and stuff. But yeah, I mean it's you either love it or hate the film and stuff. But I still kind of like have a little bit of joy like watching that film. Yeah.
I'll just stick with middle of the road on it. Maybe I need to do a second viewing. And lastly, tonight, what we're going to discuss real quick is Punisher Warzone, which released in 2008. This one I also hadn't seen. This one, of course, with Ray Stevenson in it. And who was the other guy? Dominic West.
Yeah.
Which you said Dominic West was...
honestly, like... watching Punisher Warzone and then figuring out later on, I've seen a few other films like that he was in that I didn't realize that he was in. This guy is actually a British actor, but you wouldn't know by his... Like, it's funny how you think about British actors, how well they actually do American accents or whatever it is. But he's doing like this mobster, like New York, Guido accent and stuff. But he does it like, it may be like done to an exaggerated point, but it really like, you're convinced that this guy kind of talks like him and stuff. But
yeah, I was convinced the guy was American to begin with.
Exactly. So this guy, like, okay, so we had talked about the cut Tomb Raider movie and stuff. But
oh, right.
He plays Lara Croft's father and stuff, But, I think he had his natural accent in that movie and stuff. But I was like, okay, he was in that. Yeah, I've seen that. And then I've never seen the Spice World movie, but...
I actually haven't seen that either.
Yeah, so I looked up like an interview, but I guess he's in the Spice World movie and stuff, and like he's acting with the Spice Girls.
Wow, that's pretty retro right there.
And his career is, I think he's like in the West Wing or something like that, but he's had a career even then. Oh, he was in 300. Like, he was actually the guy that betrays... Leonidas that
Ephialtes or something. The hunchback guy.
And Gorgo, I think that's the name of the woman, Lena Headey.
Yeah, Lena Headey.
She stabs him, right?
No, he lives. He's fine. Okay. He survives. He goes on.
Somebody gets stabbed. I forget who, but
she stabs I think the guy's like a senator or some kind of representative or something, and he's like betrayed all of Sparta basically because he's taking bribes from the Persians and stuff.
I think that's the guy.
Okay, and I think it is because remembering how he looks and stuff, if you just his face, I think that's probably.
So we're over talking about Dominic West, but but yeah.
Okay, Dominic West. Yeah, maybe we'll devote a video to him later. So, but anyway, Punisher Warzone. It was I don't know. It's just one of those silly popcorn action movies, and I don't know, it was just so over the top and just ridiculous. I don't know, man.
It's the third Punisher movie. Honestly, like if you were to actually track down the Punisher movies, the Dolph Lundgren one is the first film, right. And then they remade it with Thomas Jane. And everyone likes that Thomas Jane movie,
was pretty good. I like
because it's serious. It does the backstory for the Punisher, but whatever happened between Thomas Jane actually accepting, I think he looked at the script and just like, no, I'm not going to do this or whatever. But
and I'm glad he rejected it.
they went ahead with it anyway. But then so if you want to see a follow up to the Thomas Jane Punisher, don't look to this movie. Just kind of accept it on its own, like little, like you said, a popcorn movie maybe, right. Where it's. I think at the end when you saw it, you're like, that was bad. You're like, it was kind of a good bad though because it's just a fluffy popcorn movie and stuff. You don't want to think about it. It's honestly, if you were to look at the MCU, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and even the Sony Marvel piece of it, this is one of the most violent Marvel films you'll ever see.
That it was.
Blade was violent on its own, you know what I mean? But all the vampire stuff was just all blood, green blood splattered everywhere. But this is bloody. It's like one of those... I think that's the reason why I like it so much is that it's just silly. You laugh at it, like how ridiculous it is, but it is gory beyond belief. Like he's basically punching people through their face and exploding someone on that's jumping on a roof and stuff. But
it was just so terrible when he shot that guy with a rocket in midair while he's jumping. I was like, come on, man! And even if he hit him, the explosion was like really small. Basically, the guy just poof, he disappeared in a little cloud of blood and entrails and everything. But like the other two guys were almost right next to him, weren't even affected at all.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just that's why it was.
And the special effects too, they were all made on Windows Movie Maker, you know, like some sort of like very basic special effects thing. And story wise, all it was just basically it was a cartoon. It was, you know, this is from a comic book source. You know what I mean? It's not supposed to be like really that serious, but I think they did capture the flavor of what would be the Punisher. Yeah. But you know, you've got your cartoonish characters in this. You know, the Jigsaw's your villain of the movie and stuff. And
the best scene of him, dude, was recruiting fellow bad guys. Basically, trying to recruit goons, and he's doing it with a big TV with the American flag behind him and the little American song. I don't know. It's all patriotic, and the guy he's just saying the goofiest things, and they're like, you know, I want you guys to be all you can be, and you know, I want you to join up.
I think that's what it was. He was looking at every single gang that you can think of, like even the stereotypes of like the Russian gangs, the Chinese gangs, the triads or whatever it is that was in America. I guess, you know, like he's telling them, you know, like I'm looking for a few good men, and I want to give you the opportunity to be all you can be. You know, like. But basically he's saying like everyone suffered at the hands of the Punisher, and if we come together you'll be well paid and we can finally like kill the Punisher, and that's how he recruits everyone and stuff, you know, and it's a bloodbath
and they all get killed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you'll see some familiar faces like what's his name, Wayne Knight, you know, we all know him from Seinfeld and Jurassic Park, and he plays Micro, his helper and stuff, and yeah.
It's too bad he got killed though.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, I mean, if you're someone that's expecting like a good follow-up to the Thomas Jane Punisher, you may be a little disappointed with this.
Yeah.
If you're looking for like something that's just kind of like you just want to laugh at it and like
you just want to waste 2 hours of your life, and this is the movie. So guys, that's where we are at this time. Sorry that we weren't able to put out the earlier videos. We had done a full review for Ready Player One and a full review for the Tomb Raider movie, which came out earlier this year. Both movies, I think we had agreed though. Ready Player One, actually a really good movie, extremely entertaining. I like the special effects. I really like all the little Easter eggs and stuff that are in there. Some of the references, not quite as many, I thought, pop culture references such as in the book. You know, if you read the book, I mean, he talks a lot about the movies and the music. You know, he goes more in depth with some of the stuff that James Halliday loved because of the 80s.
I think that like many things these days, when they adapt stuff to films, they have a lot more freedom, like in books, to just talk about what they want. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to representing it, like visually, like in films, maybe they're a little bit stopped by you know, rights or something like that, licenses.
That, but you also have time constraints too.
That too.
You have to put your movie in 2 hours.
But you know, Ready Player One, if you ever, I read only so much of the book, but if you were to read the entire book, it has so much more. Just like everybody always says about books versus movies. Yes. You know, I actually did read a lot more into the film and the details and stuff, because they go totally retro with that book. You know, they talk about other video games and everything that you didn't see when you saw the movie and stuff, which I liked a lot of it from the book and stuff, you know. But of course they have to kind of make it a little more entertaining. Maybe they couldn't translate certain things, like the finding of the first key.
For Tomb Raider, we thought it was an okay movie. I've seen worse, but I have seen a lot better. The movie, I'd hate to say it, while it was average, it was just okay. I thought it's actually fairly forgettable because I really don't remember a whole lot about it. I mean, I remember the whole premise and then what happened at the end. I remember all that, but I mean, the second time when I saw it with my wife, I saw some things and I'm like, I don't even remember that from the first viewing, but already by this time I've already forgotten about it.
Yeah, that's the part of being old, getting old, and you know, yeah, watching a movie from months ago. Like we reviewed it fresh, but all I remember is this young woman that her father dies, or they think he dies, and she has to take over the family business, but she ends up giving it to someone else. But she ends up trying to find her dad. You know what I mean? And basically, she basically has to, like, you know, trace down, like reverse engineer, I guess, a lot of his clues or something like that, and. Then there's a guy that wants to find him as well, that wants to, you know, basically do it for the power of owning, like, whatever it was, the death curse or something like that.
Yeah, we were expecting some kind of supernatural deal at the end, and it ended up just being a disease or virus or something like that. There was no supernatural forces at work in the movie as compared to the video game. There's usually something. So, but Shadow of the Tomb Raider, of course, coming out next month, September 14th, I believe, is the release date for it. I've already got my pre-order in for that, so I'm looking forward to it and playing it, and probably beat it pretty quick, because once I get into that game, it usually hooks me pretty good. Hopefully it's as good as the first two. So.
Maybe you can do some screen captures and maybe do your own little small reviews and stuff.
I'll try and do that as well.
And we're also looking to kind of like, we've talked about it, maybe Jose can do like a single video of him like talking about certain comics and stuff, you guys might see some solo reviews coming up here pretty soon. I mean, we're still going to try and do reviews together. I think it's just more entertaining when it's the both of us, but we will try and just for the sake of pushing out some more content, but also we do have likes of other things. Like I'm really into comics. I read a lot of comics and stuff. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, really, because I usually, once I finish reading my comics, I do seal them up into their poly bags, and I keep them very well preserved. So that would mean having to crack them back open, reread them, and then review them. But I don't know. Take some snapshots or something like that.
I think it'll be worth it, though. Yeah, we'll check it out. So I'll try and review some of the video games as well. But I think probably one project we really want to get into, we were just talking about earlier tonight, is doing a full review of the original Star Wars trilogy. Of course, I know that there are probably thousands of reviews out there on YouTube to discuss the original trilogy, but we're going to do our own, and I don't know.
We're going to keep it basic, just highlight what we liked about it. And we might even compare it to like the newer stuff that we're not too much of a fan of,
That's
like
for sure.
You'll like you said before, you'll find somebody that's more analytical about it, that does a better job of reviewing it. But this is just our own humble opinion of like how much we love the original series and what it meant to us, and what were the key scenes that always stuck in our memory and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, I think that's enough for tonight. This video is getting a little long, but we just wanted to give you that update, let you know where we are and what we're planning for the near future. And we will see you guys in the next video. Have a good night.
Take it easy. Yes.